home builders and general contractors haven't seen anything like it. The cost of lumber has skyrocketed in the last year, and it's still climbing.
Housing market is slowly dragging itself into 2026.
Breaking tonight. America didn't lose a war. America lost a supplier and didn't realize it until it was too late. For decades, the United States depended on Canadian lumber the same way a house depends on its foundation. Quiet, reliable, always there. When builders needed wood, Canada delivered. No drama, no delays. Then came Trump's tariffs. They were meant to punish Canada. They were meant to protect American mills. They were meant to force Canada back to the table. Instead, Canada walked away. And now, the damage is spreading. Not loudly, not suddenly, but slowly, painfully, and permanently. This isn't about trade anymore. This is about homes, families, and a housing system that is breaking under pressure. Let's talk about what really happened. When Trump raised tariffs on Canadian lumber, the message was clear. America doesn't need you anymore. Washington believed Canadian mills would panic. They believed Canada would lower prices. They believed Canada had no choice. But Canada made a different choice. Instead of fighting for access to the U.S. market, Canada decided to stop depending on it. That decision changed everything. Canadian leaders looked at the situation and asked a simple question. Why keep feeding a market that treats us like an enemy? So they did something radical. They turned inward. Canada told its own government, buy Canadian lumber first. Always. Federal buildings, infrastructure projects, housing programs, military bases. All Canadian wood. This was not a suggestion, it was a rule. That single move locked massive demand inside Canada and removed millions of boards from U.S. supply overnight. American builders didn't feel it right away, but the pressure was building. At the same time, Canada helped its mills survive the tariffs. Loans. Support programs. Regional funding. Not to export more, but to survive without the United States. And slowly, something changed. Canadian lumber stopped flowing south, not because it couldn't, but because it didn't need to anymore. Meanwhile, in the United States, builders kept building, or at least tried to. But lumber prices started climbing. $500, then $600, then $700, then over $800. Every jump meant higher home prices. And here's the part no one wants to say out loud. America already doesn't have enough homes. The country is short millions of houses. Young families can't buy. Renters are stuck. Builders are slowing down, and lumber is a huge part of that cost. When wood gets expensive, everything gets expensive. Walls, roofs, frames. A home that used to be affordable suddenly isn't. And while American families struggle, Canada made another move. British Columbia started shipping lumber across oceans, not borders, to Europe, to Asia. London instead of Los Angeles. Tokyo instead of Texas. Those buyers didn't threaten tariffs, they didn't play politics. They paid. And once those supply chains were built, they didn't come back. This is the part Trump never planned for. Trade relationships, once broken, don't magically repair themselves. Canadian mills invested in new machines, new sizes, new standards. They adjusted for new markets, and they learned something important. They could survive, even thrive, without the United States. Back in America, the situation got worse. Builders faced higher costs. Projects slowed. Housing starts dropped. Not because people didn't want homes, but because homes became too expensive to build. And here's the cruel irony. Trump said tariffs would protect American mills. But American mills can't replace Canadian supply. They never could. The math doesn't work. America consumes more lumber than it produces. It always has. Canada filled the gap. Now the gap is open. Prices rise, supply tightens, and builders pay the price. Some American mills make more profit per board, but fewer homes get built. So who loses? Families. First-time buyers, renters, young couples. The American dream doesn't die in one moment. It fades. slowly. Canada paid a short-term price, mills closed, jobs were lost. But Canada gained something bigger: control. They no longer depend on a market that can turn hostile overnight. They set their own rules, their own prices, their own future. The United States, on the other hand, is stuck. Stuck with higher costs, stuck with fewer homes, stuck with a shortage that keeps growing. And this isn't temporary, this is structural. Even if tariffs disappear tomorrow, the lumber isn't coming back. The relationships are gone. The supply chains are set. The priorities have shifted. Trump wanted leverage. Canada chose independence. And now, America is learning a hard lesson. You can't bully your supplier and expect them to stay loyal. You can't weaponize trade and expect no consequences. This isn't just about wood. It's about what happens when politics collides with reality. Canada adapted. America absorbed the shock. And the people paying the price are not politicians, they're families trying to buy a home. That's the real story.